Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas.
And happy holidays and happy Hanukkah or anything else you celebrate. It is the Spy Squadron Holiday Special! Not to be confused with the Star Wars Holiday Special, which is awful. Or great, depending on who you ask. I think it's great.
Of course you do. I do not doubt that for a second.
It has been a pretty wild year for Star Wars Unlimited. It existed.
We've made that joke before.
Yeah, we have. This episode, we're going to be doing a bit of a fun one. We're going to be discussing what's on our wish list.
Yeah, we're writing up our letters to Santa Claus for
Santa
Christmas.
Claus.
For Santa Claus. We're writing up our wish list to Santa Claus.
For the bountiful harvest of spoilers he gives us. Thank you, Xander.
Thank you,
FFG
Xander.
team. We're going to talk through a little bit about what's left. There's 76 cards left to go. We've had 176 revealed. And we're going to talk about what we want to see from that little bundle of joy of cards in a cradle in Bethlehem. And next episode, we're going to go through a bit of a year in review for the new year, and then we're going to talk about what we're doing and what content you can expect from us in the new year. Because we've said it a bit before, and we've been a little bit vague about it, but we really are ramping up content. As soon as this set releases, we'll be doing a lot more like tier lists, tournament coverage, full deck builds. It's just a bit tough when we don't have everything. We don't really want to go gung-ho and build a deck, and then the next day, as so often happens to us, a new card comes out and we're like, man, that would have been really good to put in.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll be seeing a lot of stuff, but we'll talk more about that next week. This week, we're going to make our final wish list. But first, we are going to go over the 3 spoilers we have gotten this week. A little bit of a step down from the 15 of last week.
I could use a break. I use a break.
But
we need a break.
Understandably so.
Everyone needs a break.
For starters, there was a bit of a mishap with the Monday reveal. There was meant to be a double aspect card coming, but unfortunately that's been delayed for an unknown amount of time. Obviously, FFG staff had something that they're doing that's either messed up or they're sorting it out.
It's also Christmas and the holiday season, so everyone's got to be with their families. They can't always be on top of it, and they've done a lot for us this year. Again, thank you everyone at FFG for everything you've done, all the design staff and Xander and everyone. So I chalk it up to the fact that they deserve a break.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Xander was nice enough to jump onto the Discord and let us know before the reveal went live.
Really awesome.
Was like, hey, guys, just so you know, sorry for the inconvenience. Honestly, once again, it was one of the best communications I've seen between like kind of creator and player that I've seen.
They're like so on top of it.
I'm sure we'll learn more next week and probably find out what these double aspect cards are
Still
doing.
getting a leader though. Still getting a leader this week.
Yeah, she's getting a leader this week.
How good's that?
I guess now I have to pop it up because it will have released. Between now and is it good?
It's Cassian. I'm making if it happens, it happens. It's
he's making the call.
Look at that, because at Christmas, red and white, it's Cassian. Or it's not. And
what does he do?
He's got Saboteur on him. See? Really hope it's Cassian and not a blue hero or the blue villain. It's Cassian or Palpatine. Who knows?
Anyway,
here it is.
Well, we did get 3 reveals. We're going to be talking about
really
them.
Sweet ones.
Some really cool ones. First thing we're going to talk about. They're small. They're little. They're lads.
Houdini! It's a Jawa.
It's a Jawa.
It's got best keyword in the game, notably as well. It is
keyword Jawa.
It is our first card with the keyword Jawa. Build your Jawa decks now.
It is very simple. It's 1 cost neutral cunning. It is 2/1 with Saboteur.
Very good. You want to 1-drop 2/1 in your Underworld decks to get rid of shielded units? Yes, please. You want to 1-drop 2/1 that sneaks past those pesky sentinels? Yes, please. Honestly, Jawa is pretty dope. It feels like a draft card for me in the sense where it gets around sentinels, but it's actually not too bad in constructed. It depends how relevant sentinels become.
It also depends how relevant stuff like Vader is going to become. They can easily just be like, get out of here, you little buddies.
I think personally we're going to see it a lot in constructed play, but I do think that it might have its place as a sideboard 2 of in, oh man, I'm playing against this really sentinel heavy Chewy deck. and I want to get like, I need to just get like 2 pieces of damage in or something, sure, maybe we can see it. Personally, it's definitely a draft card for me. I love the artwork. I love the Jawa.
The artwork is very good. It's very nice to pick. They seem almost like fluffy.
They are.
Like cuddly.
They are little cuddly guys. But
Like meerkats.
I'd say, like, it's definitely a draft card. I don't know exactly where it fits, but I don't think it's bad. I think it's okay.
It's one of those cards where it's going to get discounted a lot until it's really found its place. Obviously, there's a potential later down the road with this Java keyword
That there could
that
be
we're
like
gonna
a
get
sand crawler or something.
like
that
yeah,
turns
like a
into
full
Javas.
Java deck going
That'd be
on
hilarious.
with like the
Please
Java
do that.
leaders, and then it's like, oh, all Jawas get +2/+2, and suddenly you have a 4/3 Sentinel for
See,
one.
as
and
much as that would be nice for Jawas, I want Ewoks. I want that for Ewoks.
Get outta here.
Ewoks are awesome. Bring me those little teddy bear people.
Did you say it's on your wish list?
It's actually not. Although I am now rethinking that. Out of the 76 cards, I want 10 Ewoks. Give it to me.
All neutral, completely neutral.
That would be hilarious if there's a neutral aggros that we're missing. All of them are Ewoks.
All of them are Ewoks. I meant that just like the non-aspect cards. The other
All
5
the
non-aspect
neutrals
cards are just Ewoks.
Yeah, all right, pal. Wow. But I probably give this one a 2.5 out of 5 on Spiceometer, just because I don't know where it sits. Mono yellow aggro, maybe, but we haven't really seen that out of yellow by itself, so I don't know where this sits first.
Could come in handy when you're looking at playing this next card. Getting a lot of things to play as one cost. It's going to help it out a lot. I've completely forgotten the name of
Vanguard
it.
Ace.
Vanguard Ace. You've really learnt from Consortium Star Viper.
I will never forget again. It is a 2-cost, 1/1 hero cunning New Republic vehicle fighter. So it's the first time we've seen the New Republic keyword, interestingly enough. Sadly, it does not synergize with anything currently. But it could do in the future.
Keyword being currently.
Its ability is, when played, you put an experience counter on Vanguard Ace for each other card you have played this turn.
Yeah, so this is really coming down as a sort of, I hate to say it, but Storm style like thing. Like very much a case of like playing a lot of 1 and 2 drops and then putting this down as hopefully a 3/3/4/4.
The difference between SWU and Magic Storm is that most of the time Storm runs a lot of low-cost cards that draw you cards. Not really. We've seen 1 card in the game that does.
Yeah, I think this card is definitely something to look at in future sets. I think this is really a card that can be like, hey, this is going to be a thing coming up, but at the moment,
a couple of like 1-cost on-play draws, then this card could be seen as a pretty good card. But most of the time I see it and I'm like, you're probably going to get the value of playing 1 card beforehand to play this. So if it was a 1-cost, I think it would be a lot better. But or if it was a 2/2, but it's a 1/1. Most of the time, it's going to come in with a 2/2, and it's just going to be a worse Alliance X-Wing.
Yeah, the thing to remember with this is often if I think of this, I think of how specific spoiler that we got, the Lethal Insurgents.
Yes.
In that sometimes I struggle to get that ability off.
But the thing with Lethal Insurgent, it doesn't feel bad because you're playing a 2-cost 3/2. So it's kind of like, it's a good trading unit. If I don't get its ability, sweet. If I do get its ability, it's annoying for my opponent.
But if I am trying to get that ability, sometimes I can't get that off. Probably I want to play, like I don't have those. And that's only 1 card before it. This is trying to get 2, maybe even 3 cards.
It's tough to jump through hoops, especially in set 1 when we don't have things that can jump through those hoops. So for me, I personally give this card a 2 out of 5 for right now. That could change in the future, but I just can't see it comboing well or synergizing well with anything, especially considering it doesn't have any relevant keywords.
Yeah, really expected this thing to have the rebel keyword. I think
thought
that
it did
really
first.
would have like.
I saw an X-Wing and I put it in my brain, and we were sitting down just before we recorded, and I went, "This is New Republic," and you were like, "What?" And we both thought it was Rebels.
Yep. So that's something to keep in mind. I think people are definitely going to get chipped out by that, but grabbing X-Wings, putting them in their deck, assuming they're all rebels. Nope, one's resistance, one's...
We could see some fighter synergy, which means this wouldn't be too bad.
True.
Because we've seen a lot of fighters
Yeah, we could get that in the neutrals. As I said, that's going to be supporting the kind of smaller archetypes.
Trooper, we could get fighters, which would be like the space trooper,
Yeah.
essentially. Should be really cool. I would like to see that. Put that on my wish list. Now, out of these reveals, there is a card that I'm really excited for. I played it on the late night gaming stream quite a bit. If you didn't go see that stream, go check them out. The link is in last week's video, because that was the video just before them. But I played Blue Red Vader, and I think this card really synergizes with it. This is Inferno 4. This is a blue villain 2-cost 2/3 TIE Fighter that says, when played and when defeated, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck. You can put them back at the top or bottom of your deck in any order. This was spoiled by the Garbage Rollers in their interview with Danny, so go check that out, their article out of that. I love this card.
Absolutely. I think this is a very, very cool card, especially in those kind of more control-y blue decks. I think the mono blue is going to really latch onto this. I think Blue Vader is going to
I think any blue villain
latch onto that. Yeah.
It's a great turn 1 play.
It is a great card to kind of kickstart that manipulation of your deck and increasing the consistency of your deck quite a lot.
I mean, we saw in, like, you played it a couple of weeks ago, Blue Yellow Thrawn. This would have been really good in. I think mono blue villain is great because you look at the top cards, you're really going to stack. This is great in Iden. This is great in any blue villain deck because it allows you to look at the cards, rearrange them, make sure you're not getting those dead draws. It's good in Inquisitor because it can swing and untap, and you could potentially have a turn where you swing with it, untap it, and then kill something and trade and get the full value out of it by, playing it the turn before, double swinging with it, and it dies on the second swing, so you just looked at 4 cards and stacked your deck. I like it in Vader because it lets me get out of those problematic cards that I don't want on a 2/3 body, which I think is really relevant.
Yeah, I think with this first time we've seen kind of those villain early drops coming in with 2/3. Or Cartel... Is it no?
Cartel Spacer is a 2/3.
Is a 2/3.
It's a yellow.
But we are starting to get to see that kind of. In the beginning, we saw a lot of those X-wings come out in 2/3. We didn't really see a lot of that villain side, but now I've kind of seen that villain side coming in, and that 2/3 body is still relevant in the game and still
really
very, very prominent.
I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, but R2 does this." And to that I say, R2 is not in space. A lot of the time when you play R2. I've seen a lot of people play R2 turn 1 and not in a Luke deck, just not use that other resource. They've just lost a resource. Mm-hmm. And R2 has to live for 4 turns to accomplish what this can do on the turn it's played and the turn that it dies.
Yeah, I think it's one of those cases where it's just doing a little bit more, and yeah, you're paying an extra resource for that. For often R2 isn't, like, as you said, you're not really using that other resource anyway, so I
also
feel
don't
like...
have to spend actions to attack with it.
Yeah, I think this is a card that you'd probably be playing as just a space 2/3.
And then its ability is just a nice caveat to go, look at the top 2 and go, oh, I really don't want that right now, or cool, I'll leave them both there.
Yeah, being able to manipulate your draws for next turn and being like, all right, sick, I know my 2 draws for next turn, let me make sure I get ready for that. Or even being like, ooh, these aren't the cards that I want, let's try and get another 2.
Try to get something else, yeah. I love this card. I think it's really solid. I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
I think it's great. I think given a 2/3 space body with the ability to stack your deck for a lot of control decks, which we're actually really seeing blue villain pan out to be pretty control-y.
Especially with the Delmico that came out last week and the regional governor, both those together are creating a kind of lock deck that's kind of coming together.
Yeah,
and I think
events, can't play cards, stacking the top of your deck.
Yeah,
healing when you kill things.
I think something as we're coming into the kind of thing of the episode. Sorry, I can't speak English. The wish list. I think the first thing that I'm going to come through here and say is I would like some sort of control piece, whether it be in blue or in maybe green. I would love to see a piece that says whenever an opponent's unit attacks with raid, reduce it by 1. I would like some sort of counter to this massive influx of early aggro
It'd be interesting to see
raid.
that even if we just have a Jin, like a unit that has a Jin ability where it's just when your opponent attacks, give it -1/-0.
Yeah, it could be that too. I'm probably focusing too much in on a single thing, but that is just. I like the idea of not stopping the aggression, but being able to slow it down enough to.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see it maybe like as a late game space unit, and it's like a ship that's like bombarding from the sky, and it says your opponent's ground units get -1/-0 when they attack. Something like that. That'd be interesting.
It could be that. I'd love to see it more of a kind of regional governor kind of style, early, like easier to remove, but also trying to stall that early hyper aggression that we're starting to see come through in these decks like Christmas Leia and Sabine.
See, for me, that leads into 2 cards on my wish list. One, I'd like to see an early blue removal card, maybe killing something with health 3 or less, because we've seen that theme go with that, and then takedown, and then vigilance, and then into vanquish. And then so maybe something like that, an early game blue removal card that really fits with the theme. More importantly, and we saw someone brought this art for the Era 403 of the website, I want to see Force Lightning. I want to see it. I want it to be a red Force card. I want it to do what the Palpatine unit does on a smaller scale. I want it to be able to spread damage across for cheap. I wouldn't mind if it was similar to Force Choke where it costs less if you had a Force unit, or similar to It Binds All Things where it did more if you have a Force unit. I just want more cards that are like Force powers that synergize with the Force keyword. And I think maybe something along the lines of you play it, maybe it does like 5 damage, you spread how you choose, or I suggested one where it costs 4 and it's deal 2 damage to a unit, deal 2 damage to a unit, deal 2 damage to a unit. 3 separate instances where you can be like, cool, deal 4 to this one, deal 2 to that one, or deal 2, deal 2, deal 2. Something like that, like a mini overwhelming barrage, costs 4, so it's not.
Could also see something along the lines of the opposite of, if we're thinking of in yellow, maybe it could see something like the opposite of the Delta attack formation.
Give minus.
Yeah.
That'd be
Where
interesting.
you can give like either deal 3, deal 2, deal 1, or give -3, -2, -1, or something along those lines.
See a unit that you were saying, like a one that minuses your opponents on attack, it'll probably be cunning. Probably be mono cunning or hero cunning.
Yeah, I just think those kind of blue and green decks are struggling at the moment, and I think we could give them a little bit of a boost with that. Not necessarily struggling, but definitely they could use the little bit more.
To counter that aggro.
Yeah.
And that's why I think like a lot of that early game low cost blue removal might be something you'd want to see. Maybe even a unit that when it attacks you can defeat a unit that has a cost of like health 1 or less. You attack and just be like, hey, that guy's got 1 health left, he's dead. I don't think that would be too. I don't think it would be too strong because you got to get him down to 1. But I think it would synergize with a couple of decks. I think it could maybe help in some instances, but who knows? What's next on your wish list?
Next on my wish list, I would have to say, and I know I'm going to get absolutely slammed for this. I'm going to get absolutely roasted, and I know people hate it.
Is it Mill?
It's Mill.
Yes, I knew you were going to say that.
I would like
this guy.
just one more piece of villain Mill.
And do you want to tell them why?
Because
I've had to put up with this. No. You tell these people.
It's great.
I've had to put up behind the screens, behind the cameras. There is a secret deck that you're working on.
It's not secret.
This man's got a blue Millenville.
Millenville.
That's what it's called.
I do like blue villain Mill. I think I understand
quite a lot.
I understand that it's like, why don't you just kill them sometimes? And I understand that is a thing. But
you are in reality.
There is an idea of it that is more of a mindset than a thing. I'm going to use this vigilance 2 mil always, and it does create a weird kind of situation where you're using all of your units to trade. It works well. I'm not saying it's fantastic by any means, but it can definitely come out and surprise you. I would love to see just another card that can give some sort of mill, whether it's the mono vigilance upgrade or the other vigilance card that'll be coming out, whatever it is. but I would love to see just one more thing, because the deck that I'm currently running, it always seems to, when it does lose, just not quite have enough.
It misses out by a few cards.
And it's usually always when I'm forced to use Vigilance to kill something and heal, and don't get that 6 mil off on a Vigilance. And that's when the deck will kind of start to fall apart, when it won't quite get there.
It's pretty interesting though, because a lot of people, myself included, expected Hero Mill to be the thing, because they've got Yoda, you've got Kanan. Well, people are Mill, Charlton's OP. But that'd be interesting. I think that's going to be definitely a card, because it doesn't mean the whole archetype, and they did say that there would be more Mill in the future, so I wouldn't be surprised if we got a couple of cards. Just the one
That's
card.
fine.
Just need one.
That's fine. Well, there's too many people to play it.
I've said it a few times. I'll say it again. I'm looking forward to a legendary Vader unit. I personally believe, and I could be so wrong about this, make fun of me in the comments when I am, or DM me and make fun of me, but
I always do.
the artwork of Vader flanked by the snowtroopers as he enters the Hoth base, I believe that to be the legendary.
I hope so. It's either that or
Because I love that artwork.
Yeah, it's either that or it's going to be some sort of event that's coming up. But I definitely think that artwork of that Vader is fantastic artwork and is worthy of the legendary status.
Agreed.
Very interesting when you start to look at what we have left to see in
Yeah, we did this before the episode. It made me
aggression
go,
villain.
No.
Yeah. So there's some interesting stuff, because I also have something in aggression villain that I really want to come forward, and
I think we both agree that that's a card we want to see.
and that's Seventh Sister. Now, there's only one way that both Seventh Sister and Vader can be
Red legendaries.
red,
Red villains.
and that is if one of them is a 1-drop. I don't think Vader's going to be a 1-drop.
So it's going to probably be Seventh Sister, which would be weird.
Be interesting to see. Keep your eyes peeled, because I think those are two cards that people are definitely just expecting to see.
I'd be so surprised if we didn't see Seventh Sister, because we've got Fifth Brother, and those two got introduced into Rebels at the same time. One idea we spoke about is that one of them could potentially be a neutral, on account of Vader last minute at Return of the Jedi comes back to the light and becomes Anakin. I don't know if that would happen. I feel like we need a Vader unit, because we got a Luke unit.
Yeah, we could see, like the only other option to me is some sort of like
He's Vigilance.
nod to Clone Wars Anakin, and being like like right in the moment of turning to the dark side, kind of Darth Vader.
I think if we're going to see a Darth Vader unit, it's going to be Darth Vader. And I think it's, for me personally, it would be weird if we didn't get if we got an Emperor unit and we didn't get a Darth Vader unit.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. I think there's a possibility we see it in blue. I think they could throw that in that
Could
kind of
be.
like curveball at us as blue
look,
force.
they could throw a curveball at us, and it could be that Seventh Sister is a neutral, which would be interesting. Could be no Seventh Sister, because out of the two, I think Vader is.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, and that would honestly be kind of sad. I do want to see a Vader unit that has something similar to the leader, where he's dealing direct damage. Because a lot of the Vader cards associated deal damage.
Yeah.
The leader deals damage. Force Choke deals damage. Vader's lightsaber, when equipped onto Vader, deals damage. So it'd be interesting to see what he'll do if he comes in and he specifically just Devastator style pings a unit, or what, like he could be it could be interesting in the sense where he's similar to Imperial Firepower, where he enters and him and each of your other units get to go deal damage to one of your other opponents.
That would be interesting.
Where for each unit you control, you pick a unit in the same arena, and they kind of Akbar each other, where like, you know, you'd be like, this guy will deal 2 here, Vader will deal 6 here, this guy will do 2 here, something like that, because they've been a bit tiptoeing around board wipes. How we mentioned they've mentioned overwhelming barrage and how people are calling it a board wipe, and their response was, it's not like it's not a board wipe because there are board wipes in the set.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if we don't see like just a wipe both, like a black hole.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that could be the Death Star.
Bring in Yu-Gi-Oh! No.
We could see, like, I know a lot of people are theorizing the Death Star unit, but we could not see the Death Star as a unit considering it's a base in the game, because it's so large, and we could see an event that's the Death Star laser, and it just nukes.
Yeah.
Like your opponent's board or both players' board. That would be sweet, I think. I think it'd be awesome to see that Vader. I really want it. For Seventh Sister, I think we were discussing maybe she could make tokens of her little droids. Like maybe whenever she's damaged by one of your own effects, she makes a 1.
Yeah, I would love like a 1/4 1-drop Seventh Sister that makes a token every time damaged, or every time she attacks, she makes a token.
Yeah. Or when she attacks, if she's damaged, she makes a token.
Yeah.
So that way it synergizes with Leader. I think, like, for not each point, but for each instance of damage. So, like, you could untap her with the Inquisitor and make a 1/1. Or, you know, I think it'd be cool that if she is damaged when she attacks, she makes a 1/1. And maybe they give her Raid 1 or something. That'd be cool.
Yeah. I think both of us are keen to see unit tokens.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't think it's coming in set 1.
Nah,
I would be very surprised, but I would also be
I
very
reckon if
enjoyed.
we're going to see unit tokens, set 3 is going to be the one we see them in. Because
battle droids,
clones,
baby.
battle droids, Twilight of the Republic, it's like, it would be so easy to just have a bunch of cards that are like, you know, we could get a 25 health base that's Camino and cloning facility, and once per game epic action lets you make a clone token or something like that. So it'd be cool to see cards like that. But I don't know if it's going to be a set 1 thing. What do you want to see from Seventh Sister? What do you want to see from the Vader?
Yeah, it's super weird when you look at it and you realize there's only 2 spots left for that.
Yeah, for that villain red.
Villain red. I think
One of them actually, just that 1-drop could also potentially be a green card, a green event.
Yeah, with
it
the
sits behind resupply.
It's a little bit of a weird,
So,
like we're not 100% sure on it.
Schrodinger's Seventh Sister.
I think personally with the Vader, I'd like to see a similar ability to Luke, where it's do something if a unit's been defeated this round. Do something like do more of it.
A keyword like I personally would see that Vader having raid or overwhelm.
I think that it'd be very interesting to kind of flip the script a little bit, and where like Luke leader is about healing and Luke unit is about neg. If Vader came down, and because he has those like if that's that art where he's like flanked by the snow troopers, if he came in, it was like give a unit +3/+3. If a unit's been defeated this round, give them +6/+6 instead. That would be really cool. I think that'd be something where it'd just be like you're not only putting down Vader, but you're creating another threat as well. So it's a lot harder for them to remove it. It'd be like, get out of here.
Could be something where Vader comes in, he gives a unit +3/+3, and then if a unit's been defeated, you ready him.
Could be something like that. Yeah, absolutely.
You give him the +3/+3. I've killed something, so he's readied. Slap the saber on him and get him in there. Notably, if he is going to be the red villain legendary, he costs 6, which means he comes out the turn before the Vader leader, which is...
Could cost 5 or 4 as well, but
true.
Probably 6 if it's a Vader
6,
legendary.
Yeah, and that's tough, because Luke legendary comes the turn after Luke Skywalker is played. Which I personally think synergizes within the way that Luke leader can swing and put a shield on.
Whereas this one would come one turn before the Vader legendary.
Which is pretty interesting. But I definitely want to see that. I think it's nearly a guarantee. Moving on to the wish list, I want to talk about, we've got 3 of them left. One of them, here it is again. It's Cassian. What leaders?
I think personally, I just really want to see that Palpatine leader.
Yeah,
We're
I
sure
think
that
we're
it's
both
Palpatine.
on the train of, and I think the community nearly fully wholly agrees on
If
this.
they pull off that the green villain leader is not Palpatine,
wild. Can you imagine though?
I could not.
They're laughing at us now, like Xander and Tyler and Jeremy and the rest of the team are sitting there and they're watching this and they're going, "What a bunch of idiots."
Yeah.
But no, like I'm pretty sure the community is nearly in full agreement that rare green legendary legendary leader, that green rare
Please no.
leader is there are no legendary leaders. There are showcases. Is Palpatine.
Now, what I want to see with Palpatine is something that I've noticed. We have every single keyword on a leader except 3. Ambush can't be on a leader because a leader is never played. So therefore, the entire ambush keyword is kind of redundant on it. We could see something where it's like give some other things ambush, but... so the only 2 left are Saboteur, which we've already talked about this Cassian leader that...
Here he is.
It's gonna
Again,
if it is Cassian and he has Saboteur, you realize we're gonna get to next week and be like, we have nothing to say. We already said it all. We already guessed this. We're psychic.
I'm going to talk about it a bit more in a second, and why I think it's Cassian. Why I think that this leader that got revealed on Friday is Cassian. Here he is, giving him a smack.
I think he's gonna have Saboteur because it's one of the 2 keywords we haven't seen yet. I think the Palpatine leader. I think he's gonna be a big lad. I think like there's 2 choices you can go with.
He's gonna be a big boy with overwhelm.
There's 2 choices you can kind of go with Palpatine. One is conniving, evil mastermind, and lower stats, kind of a funky ability. The other is comes out like has a kind of cool ability to kind of keep him like chugging along, which is probably, and then just big stats and overwhelm.
My theory with this Palpatine leader is because if we see conniving Palpatine, I think we'll see Sheev, that kind of Sheev. Yeah, we're on a first name basis. I think we'll see that kind of Sheev Palpatine as senator, as the Senate in the Twilight Republic.
No, because he is the Senate.
Yeah, and this is the Palpatine where he's in the throne room going, "Look at your rebel friends. They're already like dead. They cannot win this battle." And then he lightning bolts everyone because he's cooked. He's so strong at that point. I actually think a few things about this leader. He'll have an incredibly high stat line. He'll have an interesting ability on his flip side and front side, as well as overwhelm, and he will be a leader that will have the highest deploy cost out of all the leaders.
Yes,
I believe that this leader you're going to have to ramp to get to him.
I think that we're going to see 8 to 10.
Yeah, and I think like when he flips, this guy's going to be like an 8-8.
Something big.
Something wildly big.
I think this is the kind of card that you like. The idea is like once Palpatine's there, it's going to be very hard to sneak the victory through. And I think that kind of thematics brings forward a kind of cool kind of. And considering he's also green, which we know is the ramp card, we know can ramp up pretty quickly. So
he could make villain cards cheaper.
Wild. The speculation here is wild.
It could be his front side is, as an action, you can tap him and you can play a villain card that costs 1 less.
I mean, I'm always down for
that'd be good.
I'm always down for a good old turn 1 Death Star DJ.
I'm down for a turn 1 free TIE fighter. And then a Shore Trooper.
We're gonna have to wait and see. I think that we're gonna see this Palpatine last. I think it's gonna be the last leader revealed.
It's the one that is the most hyped because everyone's like, it's Palpatine. I mean, we've got the Royal Guard, the Emperor's Royal Guard, and they say if you have a Palpatine leader or unit.
I just want to know what that other red villain is. You know, the other red villain leader. I thought I saw it once, but man, one day they're gonna show it.
Could have Raid.
It could have raid.
It
could give all your units raid and be terrible.
It's IG-88. It could be raid. Could have raid and be terrible. It's true. Now, speaking of being terrible and the other two leaders, the blue leader, I've seen a lot of people up and down about this. I've seen people say
It's changing
I've seen people say it's
constantly.
Mon Mothma, which I'm like, guys, Mon Mothma would
I've
be
seen
Command.
a lot of
I initially thought it was Kanan, but now that we have the Hera leader, I'm like, we're not going to see another one.
we've seen a lot of people talk about Lando as well. That Lando art that we saw, they think that might be the leader.
I don't think we're going to get a Lando leader, and the main reason...
I can't wait for them to lead a Lando leader and reveal.
Here it
He's
is.
been like Cassian. It's like, oh, there's Lando.
But I like the reason I think that's going to be a Lando unit. I think it might be a villain or it might be an event. And I don't know if we're going to see Lando because Lando's not a vigilant character. Lando is a cunning character.
You're not wrong, and we've already seen that hero unit coming out. So I think that it's unlikely it's going to be Lando. It's unlikely it's going to be Mon Mothma.
My theory is we actually haven't seen a Force leader yet, one that synergizes directly with Force. We have seen. Yep, there you go. I think it's going to be Old Man Ben. I think it's going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. Genuinely, I believe he's going to synergize with Hero Force units because we currently have a large number of Hero Force units, and a lot of them synergize with each other. And namely, one of the biggest ones that does is that Obi-Wan Kenobi Sentinel. Yeah. When it dies, you put 2 experience counters on a unit, and if it was a Force unit, you draw a card. I think we're going to see something that works either with Force powers, or hero cards, or synergize with the Force keyword, because remember, he's a rare leader, and rare leaders are meant to synergize with a theme for constructed, rather than being an all-round useful card, like the common leaders, because the common leaders are for draft, rare leaders are for constructed.
I think the other option that we kind of have is maybe because they have like Rebels in this. The series just came out recently, so they might want to hype it up a little bit. There is a slight chance it's an Ahsoka Tano.
That would be really cool, but I think that Ahsoka, if she's going to come out, because the thing is, it could actually be, now that I think about it, because she was in Rebels.
Like that, like the older Ahsoka with like.
She was in Rebels.
Yeah.
There is the Ahsoka series. That's actually not a bad take. I would love that.
Could still be a Force like.
Oh yeah.
Like synergizing with Force.
If you ask me, I personally would prefer that leader. I mean, I love.
I'm coping here because I want to see Ahsoka Tano.
I love Old Man Ben. I love him. Ahsoka's pretty sweet though. Both of them featured in Star Wars Rebels though, which is the best Star Wars media around. But I think, regardless of anything, I could be so wrong, but I feel like it's a Force leader.
It just makes the most sense. We have so much more Force stuff in that, like Jedi lightsaber, even Luke's lightsaber. Well, Luke just goes with Luke, but with it binds all things, Yoda, and Kanan, all that kind of stuff. Which is so much stuff that does have that Force keyword in blue. I think it'd be really surprising if we didn't have a leader that at least mentioned it, at least like kind of like we have Luke, but he's not even an in-set leader. He's the star deck leader. So like having a...
And he doesn't even synergize. When I say Force synergy, I don't mean the Force keyword. I mean a leader that directly mentions other units and cards that have the Force keyword. So whereas, Tarkin mentions Imperials and Leia mentions Rebels, I would say this would mention Force, because Rebels and Imperial, and I can hear you going, but then why would it be common? Because Force, comparatively to the number of Rebels and Imperials in set 1, is an uncommon archetype.
Yeah.
There isn't a lot, and half of it currently is locked into villain.
Yeah. I think also the other concept that could be possible would be also Yoda. I think we could have an old man Yoda. Dagobah Swamp Yoda.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
As well as a leader. I think those are, like, to me, those are the 3 options of kind of Force leader that we're going to see coming in these sets.
And now we'll address the elephant in the room. Here it is again. It's Cassian Andor with Salvatore. But the main reason I think it's Cassian, I think this character, I've seen a lot of people throw out suggestions as well, and I'm going to address them. There are 3 possible leaders this could be. I will tackle the first two, and then I will tell you why I think it's Cassian. First is Saw Gerrera. We've seen a lot of Partisans. We've seen a lot of Saw's guys. We've seen Jeddah's. Well, that's enough. We've seen Jeddah City. The reason I don't think it's Saw is because every card we've seen that's in relation to or mentions Saw is neutral red. I actually do think we will see Saw Gerrera this set. I believe he will be a neutral red unit that synergizes with the raid keyword, because both of those other units get raid, both the Partisans and Two Tubes, or give raid. So I think we will see Saw. I just think he's going to be a unit, because whilst Saw is a rebel, him and his group aren't really heroes. Sorry to say, everyone. Every instance we see Saw, Saw's a terrorist. Saw starts off in the Clone Wars.
Pulling out the big T.
Saw starts off in the Clone Wars as a rebel leader and terrorist, and then in Rebels we see him again, and that man is ready to risk it all. He's ready to blow himself up with that Kyber crystal. He's ready to kill the last Geonosian just cause.
Just cause.
Mon Mothma puts it lightly in that Saw's an extremist. Maybe not a terrorist, but he's an extremist.
Which, funnily enough, does bring us to your second possible. No, Mon Mothma, they were thinking it was.
Mon Mothma is people thinking visuals. My second is actually K2SO. We've seen artwork of K2 that we haven't seen yet.
True,
and K2 with gun in his last stand. Wouldn't be surprised if that leader's a K2SO with Overwhelm. That could be our Overwhelm leader. I don't think it is. I think Palpatine's more possible. But if Palpatine isn't an Overwhelm leader and is more focused on being rampy, then K2 would be our Overwhelm leader. I think we could see K2SO, but I don't have more evidence than we haven't seen the artwork for that card yet. Could very well just be an event. I think that Cassian Andor is the leader because we have a card called For a Cause I Believe In. That is an event that synergizes with dealing direct damage to bases and stacking your deck. I believe that Cassian will be a deck based around hero cards and specifically based around utilizing hero cards. And I think that Palp will be specifically based around using villain cards. I think Cassian will have Saboteur. One big reason is, and it might be putting my tinfoil hat on crackpot theorying, but when they showed K2SO off, they made Tyler made special mention to point to the fact that K2SO's name is K2SO Cassian's counterpart. Perhaps we could see a Cassian leader that has abilities adjacent to Boba, where when a hero unit you control is defeated, you get to do something. You get to exhaust him and do something. And then his flip side, similar to Jyn, is just whenever it's defeated, he's a saboteur. I think that we see that. I think it's highly likely. I think Cassian is an awesome, awesome character. The Andor show came out recently. Well, I say recently, it's like 2 years ago. But that was close to the inception of the game. And that has actually, Cassian is one of the most popular rebel heroes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love Cassian Andor.
I definitely think that is, like, I would be very surprised if it wasn't Cassian. I think it's one of those things where, with, like, similar to Palpatine, the community's pretty set on it. I think there are some people who argue here and there, but
I can see that for me, it's pretty much a coin toss between Cassian and Saw. I think everyone's pretty set that it's a Rogue One hero, and it's a rebel, and it's one or the other. But the reason I said it is Saw is more of an extremist and less heroic than Cassian is. And we have a couple of cards that support Cassian's archetype directly. We have mention of him in K2SO. The devs even playfully hinted at it. I could be wrong, but I just feel like it's Cassian. Maybe I'm copium in this time, because I love Cassian.
Maybe.
I think Cassian's awesome. But that's what I think. I'm very excited to see the leader reveal this Friday, or whenever it is, this week. I love getting leader reveals. I think it's really fun. We've only got 3 left. This is pretty cool. So those are what I think the leader's going to be. I think Palpatine's going to be a pretty sweet one. I'm pretty sure everyone's agreed on that. Definitely keen on seeing Cassian. And then I'm really excited to see what the last thing is. What else is on your wish list?
Oh, so much to choose from.
More land vehicles?
honestly,
We've talked about this a few times. Because of Snow Speeder, and we've got 2.
it's not even just Snow Speeder. I just like land vehicles.
Odd
And
that
I was so
ground
surprised.
Scout bike is not a vehicle.
Yeah.
I guess it's reference to the guy that's on it.
Because Scout Bike Pursuer.
But
no, I'd definitely love to see some more of those kind of vehicles come out. Not just because I want to play Snow Speeder in my deck and actually have a use for it, but because I think that those, it's just, I like the idea of it. I like being able to play those full vehicle decks and running.
I mean, we've only got the 3. We've got Snow Speeder, ATST, and AT-AT.
Yeah, so it's not quite like, unless you're playing a full space deck, it's really hard to run those cards like Prepare for Takeoff and stuff like that. So I would really love to see a little bit more of that ground vehicles.
I mean, off the top of my head, we could see one of the Frog Walkers, the little bounding Scout Walkers that the Rebels used and repurposed during the Galactic Civil War. That's a possibility. I definitely think that the Land Speeder is one from Episode 1. I reckon that's probably going to be like a cunning, normal, like just land speeder. It'll do something. It might be pretty bad. Who knows? But it'll be a land vehicle. Those are some of the ones I could think. If you asked me, I would have said Scout Bike, but we've got Scout Bike Pursuer now, so beats me. Don't know.
I think there's definitely some cool ones that they can kind of come up with.
Oh, we've also got the Academy Walker. So we've got.
Okay,
that one's also one
there as well.
But
I'd definitely like to see a couple more, especially for Hero to come through. I think there should be some cool stuff.
Compared to Villains 3.
Yeah.
So even if we see 2 more and they're heroes, that's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, I think
could
that's
see a Sandcrawler. That'd be sweet. That'd be sweet.
Give it a Jawa keyword.
Give it a Jawa keyword.
Most powerful keyword in the game.
It is the most powerful. You watch. Set 17 Jawas. All Jawas. Whoops all Jawas. Set 17 whoops all Jawas.
Fair enough. But then this Jawa's rotated out by then.
They'll reprint it.
Oh, okay, reprint.
It'll be reprinted. It'll be a legendary in this set though because it's the original Jawa. It'll be showcase art.
I think.
Gotcha.
You're a menace. Yeah, I think for me, I would love to see. I love to see at this point with only 76 left. We do still have that like 5 neutral cards, which are going to be
just be a neutral card.
It could just be a neutral card that supports vehicles. It's been said that those neutral cards just kind of support the smaller archetypes as on a really basic
I think
level.
we're going to get a couple of those. I'd like to see a neutral force card. I'd like to see a neutral Imperial neutral rebel. I'd like to see a neutral vehicle and a neutral fighter.
Yeah, I think we'll see most of that. I think, to me, we've got about, without them, we have about 70 cards left. I would like to see something that surprises me. I would like to see something from a media that I don't necessarily know. I'd love to throw in something like a High Republic. That's all in the books now, in the comics now. Throw in a High Republic character just to...
Throw in a Fallen Jedi character.
Fallen Jedi, that would be crazy if they just threw out Cal Kestis out of nowhere.
Oh my God.
I would lose my mind.
That'd be awesome. I know a lot of people are keen on Cal. We're keen on Cal. Well, let me make that very keen. We are keen on Cal Kestis.
I want Cal Kestis with a mustache and a gun.
Yeah, Cal 50
Cal Kestis. I'm so
Cal
keen,
Kestis.
and that would be the best card ever. Obviously, I know it's set 1, but because of those kind of reveals of Dooku, of
Mace Windu,
97th Legion,
Vanguard Ace,
it does seem they're
Resistance.
it does seem like they're throwing out little snippets of kind of what the future can hold and cards that might not necessarily fall into being really good right now, but kind of show off a little bit of a sneak preview, if so, on future sets. So, I would love to see something that surprises me.
You want more cards from...
I want cards that I have to look up who are.
I mean, a lot of people were surprised because a surprising amount of people, to me at least, didn't know who Inferno Squad were.
Yeah.
A lot of people hadn't played Battlefront 2 and they were like, who's Iden? And they looked him up and they were like, all right, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Because Inferno Squad's awesome.
Like, can you imagine if they just pulled out of their hats Dr. Aphra?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Like,
I'd love Aphra.
yeah, I'd love another, like, beloved...
All the
like,
Vader comic characters.
yeah, like,
things
I
like that,
love...
yeah.
they just pull out... Who's the librarian with a lightsaber gun?
Nu.
Just pull out a Jocasta Nu, just, like, full lightsaber gun mode against Vader. Like, pull out... I'd love to see another card, just one more card that makes me go, oh, wow, that's not... like, the base series.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I definitely look forward to that. We've got a lot of nods to it. All of the Inferno Squad cards, Mace Windu, Vader, Vanguard Ace, Black One, 97th Legion, things like that. Even people could argue with Thrawn. People would argue
Yeah.
obviously comes from Thrawn's an original book character from the now Legends Heir to the Empire series, which there's been a recent set of new Thrawn books that came out, which really, really good. Go read them.
Hit me with a random, like, neutral Bendu.
That would be awesome. That could be the Force card. Bendu, because Bendu's not Darth
Yeah,
Light.
true
I'd
neutral
love that.
Bendu. That would be great.
Love that. We could see holocrons. Could see a
Yeah.
Sith holocron, a Jedi holocron. If we're going to see that, I feel like that's probably more likely for Twilight of the Republic, but maybe I'm overestimating the amount of Force we're going to get in that. There's really only one more thing, and probably for me the biggest thing that I want, and I think you also can probably agree to this.
Yeah, absolutely. I want the first 3 sets to be revealed tomorrow.
You heard the man. Spectres.
Yes. Obviously, like, I think that's just something people
Chopper,
are waiting on.
Zeb, Ghost, and then that event. There's one event that's been confirmed. We've been told there's 2 Spectre events. There's Spark of Rebellion, which ended up becoming a Spectre event just because it fit. The artwork was always Kanan bombing a ship, and they just went, okay, well, it's Kanan doing Rebels things. So
let's put
Spectre.
Spectre on it. The other one was specifically, like,
yes,
they
but
looked at
they looked
they're
at it
like,
and went,
this is a Spectre card.
Yeah.
This is a card that needs Spectre on it.
Yeah.
So, really excited to see that.
Yeah,
I
so am
assume
I.
it's either one of kind of 2 things. One, it's either, like, searching out Spectres, or B, it's got something based on how many aspects you have out.
Yeah. I personally, and this is maybe just me really wanting it because I want it, it'd be awesome if it was the scene where Kanan lights his lightsaber up for the first time again. And, like, the artwork could be him standing there with his lightsaber out, and then you could have the other Spectres crouched behind a box, and you could have Ezra looking at them, or even just nice artwork with all the Spectres in it. All of them doing Spectre shenanigans.
Just stuff.
But we've also got, namely, 3 cards that a lot of people speculate are going to be in it. 2 for me are guaranteed. 1 I really want. It'd be weird if we didn't get it. Zeb and Chopper are the only of the main Spectre crew that we are missing. We've got Sabine, we've got Kanan, we've got Ezra, we've got a Hera leader. That means we're missing Zeb and Chopper.
Yeah.
I think that Zeb is going to be an aggression hero. Maybe even Chopper's an aggression hero. Zeb could be a vigilance hero card.
I think
But I'm pretty
Chopper is the 10 cost annihilator of worlds.
When you play him, you win the game.
Yeah.
If Spectre, full stop, you win the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. But genuinely, I think Chopper's probably going to be... So either Chopper will be a low-cost searcher for Spectres, or the event will be a searcher for Spectres. I feel maybe the event, but I think the way they said it is more of like they made the event card and then went, oh, this is a Spectre.
Yeah.
So I think Chopper will search for Spectres, or Ghost will search for Spectres.
Yeah.
So another thing.
I have a pretty high idea that, like, chance that the event is going to be something along the lines of, like...
I think it's going to be aspect related.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, like, for each different aspect you currently have in play, blah, blah, something.
It would be cool if it was, like, a blue hero event or something that said, if you have a command aspect, do this. If you have a aggression aspect, do this. If you have a vigilance aspect, do this. And if you have a cunning aspect, do this. And it could be something that represents one thing from each of them, and it's a Spectre card. So I love that. I'm so excited to see what Spectres get. As you all know, I love... How do I show this off? I love the Rebels. I love Kanan.
Do the robot.
Zeb, I think so. For me, Chopper is either cunning or aggression. I think he's going to be a searcher, or he's just going to be like a little Durdley unit that does stuff. He could be a little Durdley unit that pings. Zeb for me is either vigilance, command, or aggression. I think he's probably
could kind of fall into each of them.
For me, I think he's going to be a sentinel. I think he's a sentinel that could get like +1/+1 for each other aspect you have. And I think Ghost is a card that we will get as well.
Fair enough.
I think that I don't know what Ghost will do. I thought Ghost would be cunning, but we're actually out of yellow hero cards, unless it's a 1-drop, which I don't think Ghost could be. I think if there's a 1-drop cunning hero, it's gonna be Chopper.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But I think that's all we have time for.
Yeah.
Thank you guys very much for
Thank
watching.
you.
Please check out the gameplay video this week. Tune in next week where we get to talk about all the things that we're going to be covering off in the new year.
The year that Star Wars Unlimited releases.
It'll be the end of that year. No, sorry, the beginning of that year. I was like, it got released this year. No, it didn't, James. We just have talked about it so much. It feels like it's released.
Oh, I think I'm going to cry when I get my hands on the cards. I'm going to shed actual human tears. But go check out the gameplay for this week and tune in next week. And for the week to come, have a very happy holidays and a very Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Bye.